Hi, I'm Captain Larry Bell with Texas Fishing Tips, and this is your weekly fishing report.
Bray Cove, all this area down in here, there's a good amount of bait that's been working back in here on this edge. Make sure when you're traveling down through here into Mesquite, all through Carlos, into Ayers, make sure that you're paying attention to the tides. They are super, super low right now. There are some reefs that are sticking out, and there are some reefs that are just below the water surface because of our super low tides. It normally would not be an issue, but they are right now. So be careful as you travel. All back up in this area because if you know it well enough, there's tons of shell. But all that said, this area right in here, there's some nice amount of bait that's working. There's some nice box fish in here, some good trout that are all hanging on this edge in a little bit deeper water. Transitioning from that thigh to knee deep water, that's where you should be working your corkies, your down souths, your suspended baits, soft dines, double D's, all the above have worked really well in this area here to catch your trout. Back here in Carlos Bay, upper side here, work this area right here. There's a nice little reef that comes off there. It's a little bit deeper water that's around it. Take that area there. Be very methodical as you work. Take your corkies. Get your soft dines, your darker down south. I'll tell you another bait that's been working pretty well this week as well is the devil, the corky devil. The mullet flavor, that silvery side with the black back has worked really well for both trout and redfish. It has been pretty productive for me, especially up in this area right through here. Not a tremendous amount of bait that's working in here, but there are some nice trout that are in here. A few scattered redfish, but if you continue to work this big mud flat right here and be productive with your casting and staying with it as far as don't give up just because you're not getting a bite every 15 or 20 minutes. Sometimes it may take 30 or 40 minutes to get you a bite, but that's wintertime fishing. But there are some quality fish that are hanging up here on this flat. Fingers of Carlos, all these area in here, all these little reefs, man, they are sticking out of the water really, really well now. So you can get in there and you can find where they're at. If you haven't known where they were, get your GPSs out and make some marks with them so you'll know. In between here, there's some really nice deep guts. There's a good quality bottom. Mud and shell mix in here. There's been a decent amount of bait working in this area as well. There's been some good box trout that are hanging in here. There's been a few scattered redfish hanging in here. The darker down south, two colors in particular that have worked really well here has been the magic grass and the chicken of the sea in both the supermodels. Those have both really produced for this area here in those guts. Work the edges of those guts, work down the middle of them, get to the outer edge out this way, and work that deeper edge there as it comes back around that goes into the mouths of each one of those guts. There's been some fish that have been hanging out in those areas there. Another area that comes into play for us, when the super, super low tides are in place, get on the ditch, the ICW. If you got a trolling motor on your boat, get on it and just go right down the trolling motor here on these edges, with your trolling motor on these edges here on the ICW. Work the drop. The water temperatures have been pretty good in here. They're mid 50s up to the 60s. You can get on this edge here. Once you find and get a few bites, they're on these edges of the deeper water. If you're able to put your power pole down, or if you've got one of the newer trolling motors that you can spot lock with it, sit right there and fish it for a few minutes. Don't get anything else, move on. But there's some nice trout that are hanging all through this area here. I haven't caught any redfish on it, but most of the stuff has been trout all up and down the ICW. Here on Newcomb Bend and Newcomb Point, all this area here. Deeper water up in this little cove back in here, then just work your way out. Again, with the water levels being so low, you're going to be way away from the shoreline. You're going to find that edge, find that drop where you can see the distance or the, damn it, do it one more time.
Here, just keep going.
This little edge back in here on Newcomb Point, Newcomb Bend, this little deeper edge here. Get away from the shoreline because our tides are so low. Go out and find where that edge, where that drop off happens out there, where it's real gradual, and that's where you need to fish. Your corkies have been really good through here. Your soft dines have been good through here. The corky devils have been really good. All three of those baits have been quality production baits. There's been a solid amount of trout that are being caught out here on this point. Don't worry about how dirty the water is from all the oyster boats that are out there in Copano. Those fish will find them. Most of those corkies have all rattles in them, so they can find them. They locate them by sound. So just continue to work these. If you got bait that's working in there, that's where you really need to concentrate your casting and fishing area. Take your time with it. You'll find your fish.
Thanks for watching. I'm Captain Larry Bell.